ordered him released, and the state Supreme Court has just struck down a state program that provides race-based grants to students at private universities. Suffice it to say, with two of those three stories breaking just within the last hour, it is going to be a busy broadcast day here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it. We have also got President Obama dedicating his abomination of a brutalist eyesore that he's calling a presidential library and center on the shores of Lake Michigan in Chicago. And this was a caricature of everything about liberalism, from a land acknowledgement to a weird serenade of Michelle Obama by Bono of U2, to Obama himself really saying something unintentionally revealing about why it is that liberals like him, the neo-socialists, really don't like America all that much. Then, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, a very important interview with Senator Ron Johnson. He tried to get an op-ed published in every national newspaper, every state newspaper, local newspaper, anywhere that he could get a report on COVID-19 out to the public. Every single one of them turned him down. And when I say every one, I mean every single one, except the Heartland Post. It is our new digital media initiative. Heartlandpost.com is where you can find it. We published that op-ed because we believe that the truth, no matter how controversial, no matter how much I, as editor-in-chief, may get labeled a conspiracy theorist, I need to have the truth published. Ron Johnson, as chairman of the Senate's Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, has concrete evidence that the federal government under under Joe Biden was covering up information that would suggest that the COVID vaccines weren't all that safe, that the Vaccine Adverse Effect Reporting System, or VAERS, was being intentionally manipulated. It is highly controversial stuff. And at the risk of being labeled a vaccine truther, because I dare to follow the actual data, we are going to talk with Senator Ron Johnson in the 5 o'clock hour. You can read his op-ed, the story the media and the government don't want you to hear. It is at Heartland Post right now. We've got it up on my social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. If you want to join the program at any point, 414-799-1130 on our Carpetland USA Flooring Center talk and text line. You can also email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. All right, let's get into that breaking news just within the last half hour. This from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Salah Sarsour, a Palestinian activist, lawful permanent resident, and Milwaukee mosque leader, is free from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody after a U.S. district judge ordered his immediate release this morning. Hala Ahmad, his media contact for the Free Salah Sarsour Coalition, confirmed that Sarsour had reunited with his son and two members of his legal team, saying, quote, "He's breathing fresh air for the first time in 80 days. Sarsour, the president of the Islamic Society of Milwaukee's board of directors, was arrested March 30th by ICE in Milwaukee. DHS detained him because he had been arrested twice by Israeli forces in the West Bank, including once as a teenager, for basically he was trying to commit terror attacks against Israeli soldiers at their homes. DHS also alleged that Sarsour was suspected of funding terror organizations and lying on his immigration forms. When asked by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, quote, this is just so perfect, "The agency provided no evidence to support those allegations." Do you know why? Because the agency was saying, screw you. Sarsour, had been held at the Clay County Jail in Brazil, Indiana, Since March, members of Milwaukee's Muslim community and beyond had rallied support for his release, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and raised concerns about his health while in detention. I have not once heard of one liberal detainee or a liberal prisoner or one prisoner whose cause has been taken up by the left, who has been in good health or was treated well. It's remarkable that there are never any charges filed against the guards who beat them routinely or deny them food or anything like that. There's never any civil action taken after the release, but every single liberal cause celeb who's ever been detained or ever been arrested or ever been criminally convicted always is mistreated behind bars. It's so weird. Back to the Journal Sentinel story. In the 29-page order, U.S. District Judge James P. Hanlon of the Southern District of Indiana said Sarsour satisfied requirements for release. Hanlon found Sarsour's First Amendment habeas claim to be substantial, which could render his detention unlawful. Hanlon ordered Sarsour's release on the condition that he will reside in Wisconsin, attend all court hearings in the case in person, unless excused by order of the court, and participate in his removal proceedings. So this story just into us a second ago. Salah Sarsour is free to funnel as much money from the Islamic Society of Milwaukee as he wants back to Hamas and Hezbollah. So congratulations, Salah. Have no fear. We will be watching your story very, very, very closely here at the Dan O'Donnell Show. And folks, it would be more surprising at this point if a federal judge didn't free Salah Sarsour. And frankly, folks, I love how this guy has his own Free Salah Sarsour movement. There is a Free Salah Sarsour coalition. When the libs finally take back the presidency, when it's
President AOC in like 2045, and they're trying to take out senior citizen Dan O'Donnell as a longtime enemy of the state for promoting wrongthink, I would love for somebody to lead the Free Dan O'Donnell coalition. Do you think the Journal Sentinel would take up my cause as a brave freedom fighter whose First Amendment rights are being violated or not? If, I was charged with terror. Do you realize these buffoons still, to this day, will try to target me because my wife and in-laws went to January 6th? You might have seen my wife on TV. She was wearing the big Viking horns. My father-in-law was the guy who put his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. My mother-in-law actually stole the lectern. You can see her. I know it looks like a red-headed dude. It's actually my brother. No, they were there for the rally. I've told this story a million times that I called my wife. Actually, Mark Belling and I were watching in the studio all of this stuff going down. So I called my wife in a panic and I said, "Hun, you've got to get out of there. Get as far away as you can. A woman just got shot in the Capitol." She goes, "What? No." I can hear in the background old ladies singing "God Bless America." She said, "Everybody's having a great time here." You had no idea what was going on January 6th. So let's say I was there along with my family. And I was caught up in the Biden administration's dragnet and charged as an enemy combatant. Do you think there would be a lib federal judge who would release me because I made a habeas petition? Do you think there would be glowing articles in the Journal Sentinel about Dan O'Donnell, prominent radio host, editor-in-chief of the Heartland Post, getting arrested for expressing his free speech? Of course not, ladies and gentlemen. Other big court decision rendered today, this afternoon, and this one, frankly, folks, is something of a shocker. We haven't really covered this story all that much here on the Dan O'Donnell Show because it seemed to me to be relatively straightforward. A case of a drunk driving crash that unfortunately killed two Marquette University lacrosse players. 42-year-old woman from West Allis by the name of Amandrea Brunner was charged in that she was charged with homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle in the crash on September 25th near 27th and St. Paul, just west of the Marquette campus, that killed Scott Michaud, 19, and Noah Snyder, who was 20 years old. She was arrested near the scene. A jury just acquitted her on all counts. Members of Michaud and Snyder's family, again from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, left the courtroom, some running and weeping. Some could be heard yelling outside. Jury began its deliberations yesterday at about 3 p.m. A verdict was reached at about 1:15 p.m. today. Brunner had faced 6 felonies, 2 counts of homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, 2 counts of homicide by someone with a prohibited BAC, and 2 counts of homicide by use of a vehicle involving a controlled substance. Prosecutors, I think, frankly, had pretty irrefutable evidence that she was both drunk and high. Now, the issue that sort of complicated this is that a former Marquette lacrosse player who was driving the other vehicle in which the 2 deceased students were in, Peter McColgan, was also charged in a separate case by 2 counts of homicide by negligent operation of a vehicle. And he actually appeared on the witness stand and pleaded his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So the defense called him, and no one was allowed in this case to mention the fact that he was criminally charged because it might prejudice the jury. And frankly, folks, I kind of disagree with that, because you can have 2 things true at the same time when there's a 2-vehicle crash. That you've got a woman who is drunk and high, and that was one of the big reasons why these 2 cars collided. You can also have in the other car someone not paying attention. McColgan, by the way, is going to make his initial court appearance on July 16th. I frankly completely disagree with this verdict, because the evidence was overwhelming. She was above the legal limit. She had a banned substance in her system. She was very obviously under the influence. And yes, the other driver also faced a criminal count, but that does not negate the criminality on the part of Amandrea Brunner. But she was, in fact, acquitted on all charges today in something of a stunner. All right, we're going to step aside for a very, very quick commercial break before we get to ultimately the most significant court decision today from the Wisconsin Supreme Court, striking down a race-based grant program here in the state. Stay tuned.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena, streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu.
And you can be there
For a weekend full of superstar performances.
Are you ready?
Once-in-a-lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
We're getting this party going, huh?
Only limited single-night tickets remain. Get yours while you still can now at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
presented by Capital One.
Attention business owners, if you are thinking about selling your business and your company is doing between 1 to 50 million in annual revenue, then it's time to call Lake Country Advisors and take advantage of this red hot seller's market. At Lake Country Advisors, we specialize in helping business owners successfully sell their business for maximum value. Our team of experts are right here in Wisconsin, so we'll meet with you face to face. We will walk you through the entire process. We'll help you understand the value of your company, and we'll answer all your questions about how we confidentially bring your company to the open market. All of this at no cost. You see, at Lake Country Advisors, we're entrepreneurs helping other entrepreneurs, giving you all the necessary information upfront so you can make an informed decision if now is indeed the right time to sell. No pressure, just insight. So visit us today at LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule your free consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted, we are Lake Country Advisors. Advisors.
Milwaukee Weight Loss knows the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no drugs or surgery and how to keep it off for good. Right now, get $200 off with the summer special for a limited time only. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com now to book your free consultation.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Two significant court decisions just broke within the last hour. Federal judge ordering the immediate release of Milwaukee's Islamic Society president Salah Sarsour, who is accused of funding terrorism and also lying on his immigration forms, which is, yes, libs, absolutely grounds for immediate detention and removal from this country. But of course, because the libs went crazy about his detention, there was enough pressure placed on a federal judge that he is now free. And you can see, folks, this federal judge was in Indiana. You can see why I was so concerned that federal judge here in Milwaukee, Lynn Edelman, one of the most liberal in the entire federal judiciary, was going to try his best to free former Judge Hannah Duggan, because she became a cause celeb for the libs as well. This, I think, was a testament to just how overwhelming the evidence was of Dugan's guilt. The other big decision today, a jury has acquitted Amandrea Brunner, the 42-year-old woman from West Allis, who is charged with 2 counts of homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, drugged driving, prohibited BAC. She faced a total of 6 felonies in a crash back in September that killed 2 Marquette University lacrosse players. She was just acquitted on all charges. That is something of a stunner. The jury, I think, I haven't heard any interviews or anything with any jurors. I don't know if they are going to be interviewed. My guess, though, is the fact that the driver of the car that the 2 Marquette players were in was also criminally charged with homicide by negligent use of a vehicle. And when he took the stand, there was a subpoena filed by the defense to compel him to come testify. He pleaded the 5th. And as soon as he did that, well, now there's reasonable doubt that it was actually the drunkenness and the fact that Brunner was high that actually killed those 2 lacrosse players. Here's the problem. And I understand the jury system, jury of one's peers and all that. Reasonable doubt does not mean any doubt. What people have a tendency to conflate, who don't really understand the law, reasonable doubt is doubt that would cause a reasonable person to question whether this person actually did it. Any doubt would be, okay, well, the other guy was negligent. We don't need to determine what was actually what's known in the law as the proximate cause of the crash. 2 people can be responsible at the same time for a crash. And I believe fundamentally that is what happened here. So there were 2 big court rulings today, but by far the biggest this morning, the Wisconsin Supreme Court actually got a decision right. I am shocked the 4-3, soon to be 5-2 liberal majority in a unanimous decision, struck down a race-based grant program that the state has had for 40 years, known as the Minority Undergraduate Retention Grant Program. It was just ruled unconstitutional as a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Now, what this does is to provide need-based grants, this program up to about $2,500 per year to eligible students at private schools, at technical colleges across the state. The problem is it wasn't totally need-based. It was limited to specific racial, ethnic, and ancestral groups. If you were Black, Native American, Hispanic, or from Southeast Asia, but only certain countries in Southeast Asia, if you were from Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, if you were led into this country under it was basically the post-Vietnam, I forget what it was called, when everybody was sort of let in. It was 1975, 76, whatever. People and their ancestors who were taken from those countries. About $400,000 to $500,000 per year went to this program, 700-800 students. Totally unconstitutional. It always was, because it offers a government benefit based solely on race. When you have something that is based on race or based on gender or now based on sexuality, you must have strict scrutiny applied to that program. And what that means is that there needs to be and this is the standard across all courts, regardless of jurisdiction, there needs to be a compelling governmental interest, and the solution, the program, needs to be narrowly tailored to that interest. The court, in its opinion, written by Annette Ziegler, relied very heavily on the U.S. Supreme Court's decision from nearly 3 years ago, the Students for Fair Admissions case. This is the Harvard decision, which basically ended the last vestiges of affirmative action in college admissions. What shocks me is that this was such an overwhelming slam dunk case that even the liberals on the court, and I read the concurring opinions. First of all, surprise of all surprises. Obviously, the court's three remaining conservatives. You've got Ziegler, you've got alleged conservative Brian Hagedorn, and the soon-to-be retiring Rebecca Bradley. Susan Crawford is going to be, or Susan Crawford, Chris Taylor is going to be sworn in, I believe, August 1st, August 2nd. She will be the fifth liberal member of this court. Bradley is still on it for the final opinion session of 2026. So she got to hear this. Janet Protasewicz actually sided with the court's three conservatives. I was shocked by that. The other libs, you had Crawford, you had the Chief Justice Jill Karofsky offering a concurring opinion, and you also had Rebecca Dallett basically saying, yeah, okay, so this is unconstitutional and the U.S. Supreme Court just affirmed this, but we really, really, really need to provide special benefits to not every racial or ethnic minority, but just the racial or ethnic minorities that we believe need a little bit of a boost, that we believe just need a little extra money or a little hand up. This is beyond unconstitutional, unhealthy, and frankly, un-American thinking. So a Southeast Asian from Cambodia needs that extra $2,500 more than an Asian student from, say, Japan? How about somebody from India? So a Black student, and this is a need-based grant. So a Black student, the son of, say, a corporate attorney, making $500,000 a year, going to Marquette, has more of a need than, say, the son of a welder from West Allis who happens to be white? Okay. This has always been the fundamental problem. And I have spoken at length about what I believe it was Thomas Sowell first called the soft bigotry of low expectations, the assumption that certain racial groups need a little bit of a hand up in getting into schools like, say, Marquette or UW-Madison because they couldn't compete on a level playing field. That's about the most racist thing I think I've ever actually heard. But some of these programs, and I'm glad the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, our great friends here at the Dan O'Donnell Show, took up this cause on behalf of several taxpayers, because a whole lot of the programs that were established in the 60s, 70s, and 80s with the noblest of intentions have always been unconstitutional. This also applies to the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision in Calais, the one that struck down race-based gerrymandering in Louisiana and across the country. The idea was, well, we need to have black majority districts, especially in the South, to undo the racial gerrymandering of the white racist Democrats who didn't want black people voting for Republicans. It was a noble idea, but if you replace or try to combat racial gerrymandering with racial gerrymandering, that is the literal definition of the well-worn legal concept, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, maybe that's the well-worn parental concept, but the legal concept is literally enshrined in the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, that even if the aim is noble, even if your goal is to get rid of discrimination, if you do so based solely on race, if you do so based solely on religion or ethnicity, it is unconstitutional. We are and always should be a colorblind society that is focused on equal opportunity, yes, not equal outcome or stacking the deck for a preferred racial group because it seeks to make all of us as university administrators or state bureaucrats feel better. All right, when we come back, we are going to go out to Chicago. The Obama Presidential Library dedicated and opened today, and it was every bit as hilariously left-wing as you would expect. We'll get to that next.
America is turning 250, and iHeartRadio is celebrating with $250,000 in cash. Weekdays through July 4th, listen for your chance to win $2,500 so you can take the ultimate American getaway with iHeartRadio.
The 250K USA giveaway is presented by Holiday Automotive on Highway 41 and 23 in Fond du Lac. It's easy to see why Holiday is Wisconsin's top used truck dealer. With a huge selection and hometown values, it's worth the trip.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
David Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring, recommending iNet for web development and SEO.
That's all?
And graphic design, photography, and video.
That's more like it, Dave. Flawless installed luxury vinyl at 3 properties I own, including iNet. The 8 separate projects were easy, turned out beautiful, exceptional value, and are extremely durable.
But wait, there's more. iNet's creative genius branding and radio gives Flawless a unique identity, making us stand out. Hiring iNet is casting a net that pulls in customers your business wants and needs.
Clever, Dave. Haha, you just might have a future in radio ad writing.
My future is secure in flooring, partially because we cast our iNet 5 years ago.
Having Flawless replace pet stain and stink saturated carpet is a smell and sight upgrade, making every day more beautiful and less gross. Flawless Flooring, LLC.com.
Having iNet replace underperforming web, radio, any marketing enhances business opportunity for profitable growth. iNet-web.com. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with a drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally, not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket. And if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, a fee-only fiduciary.
Fee-only fiduciary really further separates the folks that either say fiduciary some of the time or best interests altogether. And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Are you ready to transform your home into the home you've always wanted? Hi, Colleen with Tri-County Contracting. We have a mission. Our mission is to help you love your home again. One of the best ways to do that is new siding. Whether you want vinyl or LP SmartSide or Hardy plank siding, new siding can give you the look you want. With lots of options to choose from, we will be your guide as you pick out the perfect siding for your home. Horizontal lap siding, shake, board and batten, cedar accents, there's so much you can do to make your home truly amazing. With our home rendering tool, showrooms, and design consultant, no exterior contractor is going to help you like Tri-County Contracting. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com and see all the tools you can use to upgrade your home, like our exclusive color selector page. Just click the colors you want and we can make it a reality. Free estimates, free design consultations, open showrooms with friendly staff, and a website built to help you create the home you have always wanted. TriCountyContractingWI.com. Siding that will make you love your home again. Tri-County Contracting.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup Update.
Today at the World Cup, teams will start to play their second group stage matches. Canada coach Jesse Marsch says his team is taking it one game at a time.
We know that given our group being so tight right now, that every moment and every point matters, and we're focused on that.
Canada faces Qatar tonight. Meanwhile, Mexico will look to build on its hot start facing South Korea.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app.
Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, the unhinged liberal of the day, the most hilariously sad or sadly hilarious little protest you have ever seen in Washington, D.C. Honest to goodness, when I saw the video, I couldn't tell if it was satire. Had to watch it a bunch of times to realize it doesn't seem to be. They really will attack Trump over everything, ladies and gentlemen. Big story in politics today is, of course, the dedication and the opening up of the Obama Presidential Library in Chicago, Illinois. Just so we're all clear, Nobody in Chicago wanted this. Now, they did. Obviously, they love Obama in Chicago. They see him as a native son. It's his adopted hometown. And they're, primarily liberals. But if you haven't seen what this thing looks like and how it's just a complete eyesore on the beautiful, pristine park along Lake Michigan, I can't even do it justice. It looks like a Soviet gulag. It is a brutalist style. The best way to describe it is abomination, or if you will, Obamination. So President Obama, of course, spoke, but he wasn't really the highlight here. What do you suppose a good liberal event like the Obama Presidential Library dedication began with? Yep, you guessed it. A land acknowledgement. This one done by Obama's closest advisor, Valerie Jarrett.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
So that's great that they acknowledge it. They're not like going to give any part of that land back, are they? Nah. We acknowledge that it's your land, but, it's being used for something bigger and better. It's so asinine. Could you imagine a conservative land acknowledgement? We acknowledge that this land belongs to us because we're awesome. Still, my favorite part of the ceremony today, you knew it was going to begin with a land acknowledgement. You didn't know it was going to end with Bono, the lead singer of U2, bizarrely cucking President Obama while singing a serenade to former First Lady Michelle, and in the middle of it, telling Obama, "Get your hands off my wife."
Don't touch my wife.
What? Okay, I know it's Bono, but we got to prevent the libs from singing, ladies and gentlemen. Just if you are a lib, please do not ever sing, or at least in the context of anything political. He's singing a love song to Michelle, and when Barack puts his arm around her, he says, "Don't touch my..." Folks, obviously he's kidding. It was just weird. It was, there have been rumors that the Obama's marriage is apparently not doing so hot over the past couple of years. And there was one rumor that, and I hate getting into this stuff, the salacious side of politics, but come on, it's Barack Obama apparently having an affair with Jennifer Aniston. That was supposedly the rumor. What if it wasn't that? But it was actually Bono having the affair with Michelle. Makes you think, doesn't it? All right, the actual substance of this. Barack Obama perfectly summing up his presidency by talking in a whole bunch of platitudes that don't really mean much, but cause libs to absolutely lose their minds. He did unintentionally, though, actually just perfectly sum up why it is that we're seeing poll after poll after poll. And if there has been a theme of this week as we really ramp up towards America's 250th birthday, it's that every single poll of modern Democrats reveals that they do not like this country all that much at all. First, it was an NBC News poll showing only 30% of Democrats are proud of this country, proud to be American, whereas something like 90% of Republicans were. Then a nearly identical 30% of Democrats say they're going to fly the American flag for the 250th birthday, also telling a Reuters Ipsos poll, first reported by CNN, that they're not particularly proud to be American either. And again, it really doesn't have to do much with politics. As Harry Enton, CNN's very, very good poll guy, said on the air yesterday on CNN, look, when this poll was first done, when the patriotism survey by Gallup was first done, it was January of 2001. We had just come off a month earlier, the infamous Bush v. Gore Supreme Court decision, the closest presidential election in American history, and a prevailing sense on the left that Bush was selected and not elected, that this was a stolen election. Still, you had something like 85% of Democrats saying they're proud to be an American. 90% of Republicans. Well, 25 years later, June of 2026, you've got an identical 90% of Republicans saying they're proud to be American, but just 30% of self-identified Democrats. And Obama sort of inadvertently today revealed the reason why. Because the founders of this country, the American idea in the leftist worldview, were not particularly bright or noble or good because they were inherently racist. It was only when modern liberals, i.e., cringe boomer libs like Obama, started protesting in the 1960s that this country first lived up to its promise.
In forming our union, the founders fell terribly short of the Declaration's promise, leaving slavery intact, allowing states to restrict the franchise to white men who own property. But in drafting a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, they did have the foresight, the genius, to provide us with a framework that allows each generation to make our union more perfect.
What is he actually saying there? The union was never particularly good until we came along. The only genius was that the Constitution is a living document and that we can imbue our own values into it. That traditional American values, because the founders were so racist. And by the way, they had to punt on the issue of slavery because the Southern colonies would never have ratified the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. They never would have gone. They actually banned the transatlantic slave trade in something like 1803. And oh yeah, they went to war. This country went to war with itself to end slavery and to free all people. That always sort of gets lost in the shuffle. But what the founders said is, okay, white men who owned land. At no point in no country did women have the franchise. And people who did not own land typically were not here on a more permanent basis, or they were indentured servants or slaves. In other words, the founders were very much products of their time. To Obama, this is unforgivable. And of course, it wasn't until all of the people of his generation, the cringe boomer libs, showed up, started protesting for civil rights, then America became at least a tolerable place.
And over more than 2 centuries, through petitions and protests, marches and strikes, moral appeals from the pulpit, and conversations at the family dinner table, men and women from all walks of life, of every color, every faith, every region, took up the cause of democracy and made it their own until we, the people, came to include not just some of us, but all of us.
That is so incredibly revealing. It was through protests and union organizing. In other words, it was through liberals saying that they are the only American heroes. They are the only ones who got this grand American experiment right. Not the founders, not those who bled and died for the cause of freedom in the Civil War or any other war America fought. Not anybody, the capitalists who built this country's economic system into the true powerhouse and wonder of the world that it is today. No, it was the hippie anti-war movement of the Vietnam era and the black nationalists who lined up behind Malcolm X. The self-glorification of boomer libs needs to be studied. I don't think there is a bigger ego on these people, but it perfectly explains why they don't particularly like this country. It's because it was only when they arrived that it actually became a place where we respect all people and we're good and decent and honorable. The founders, yeah, they were racist bigots, but at least they allowed us to come along and fix everything. That's the theme of Obama's presidency. What did he say? We are the ones we've been waiting for. That's very revealing.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
94 eastbound, pretty heavy, 70th to 35th. Westbound delay is 25th to Hawley. Up in Fond du Lac, 41 southbound jammed solid from US 51 to Highway B due to an earlier vehicle fire. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster. Thousands of homeowners have trusted us for their blinds that are easy to order, affordable, and guaranteed to fit. You measure at home, install yourself, and enjoy blinds made exactly for your windows. Blindster.com.
Neglecting concrete or asphalt problems is like neglecting a cavity. It isn't going to fix itself, and the longer you leave it, the worse it is going to get. And the more it's going to cost to fix.
MudTech's here to save the day. 262-337-0934.
Eliminate unsightly, even dangerous concrete and asphalt problems while increasing your business's curb appeal. Safer, user-friendly concrete and asphalt costs less than you think. MudTech!
262-337-0934.
Better curb appeal brings more tenants, more customers, and happier neighbors.
MudTech! 262-337-0934.
Seal Coat makes old gray asphalt new again. Cracks and plow-bending potholes disappear. Trip hazards are quickly and inexpensively raised or replaced back to grade with MudTech. Having Wisconsin's premier pavement technicians repair the damage from washed-out concrete and asphalt will double the life of your pavement.
MudTech. 262-337-0934.
MudTech resolves every concrete or asphalt problem, leaving your pavement smooth, your life worry-free, and enough money in your bank to take the kind of trip you want to take. MudTechWorks.com.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott, and I'm a fan of Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The best vehicle buying experience I've had in my life by a long shot, and closer than you realize. Great dealership, wonderful people, easy trip.
Holiday's red, white, and blue sale is where to save big on GMC. Choose Sierra 1500 and stack our low simplified price with 0% 5-year financing plus no payments till October. Live 100%, pay 0% on Sierra by GMC. We are professional grade.
We are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest, take a test drive, and be ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at HolidayGMCBuick.com.
It's worth the trip. Back pain, neck pain, nerve pain, it's exhausting, and you deserve better. More than 80% of adults will experience significant back or neck pain at some time during their lives. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their spine specialists use advanced diagnostics and innovative treatments to relieve pain and restore motion. From conservative therapy to minimally invasive procedures, your spine care is in expert hands. The OAW Spine Team performs hundreds of surgeries annually. They're one of the most trusted names for back and spinal care in the region. With in-house imaging, physical therapy, and top-ranked surgeons, they make it easier to take the next step without pain holding you back. When I was in pain last fall, my first thought was to reach out to OAW, and it was the best decision I ever made. I recommend that you trust them with your pain and your care, too. All the information that you need to book your appointment can be found at orthowisconsin.com. That's orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with them. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling it with your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who will tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Whenever news happens,
get coverage that's factual,
fair, and balanced. News Talk 1130 WISN. Classical conservatism.
contemporary style.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Coming up next hour, Vice President J.D. Vance, who I still believe is the best spokesperson for Trump domestic and foreign policy, with apologies to Senator Marco Rubio, briefs the media on the Iran deal. Daily Trump date is coming up and much, much more. Stay tuned. 4 o'clock hour is going to be a jam-packed one right now. Unhinged liberal up there.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Folks, the libs really will protest Trump about anything. A small group of people with signs and chants in hand showed up at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pond, which was recently remodeled by Trump to get rid of the algae at the bottom of it. The algae is starting to come back, and the Trump administration is taking steps to remove it. That small group of libs showed up to protest in support of the algae, because algae is a living thing. So small, say, I don't know, single-celled organisms, like that's just throwing it out there. A human fetus are lives worth protecting? You don't say. Those libs, your unhinged liberals of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Haig. The U.S. confirms it's lifted the naval blockade of Iranian ports. Vice President J.D. Vance says a 60-day period to reach a final agreement with Iran is underway. In Milwaukee County Court, acquittal on all counts for Amandria Brunner, the 42-year-old woman charged in last September's highly publicized crash that killed 2 Marquette University lacrosse players. Checking business news, Wall Street indices closed higher on strong weekly momentum. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones Industrial Average all up. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, Brewers and Guardians battling it out at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Bob Haig. On Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center. Odoo.com, the only business software you need.
Early morning clouds and sprinkles will give way to sunshine today. Temperatures will climb into the low 70s. Slight chance for an evening shower or storm, then similar conditions Friday with a high of 74 and a slight chance of showers. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Mosquitoes aren't just a nuisance, they can transmit dangerous diseases too. That's why Batzner Pest Control is proud to offer mosquito extermination services to keep your family and property safe year-round. For your free, no-obligation quote, give them a call or visit Batzner.com today.
Business owners, now is the time to sell your business and take advantage of this red-hot seller's market. For more information, visit LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule your free exit strategy consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted, we are Lake Country Advisors.
If you look at online reviews for most roofing companies, it isn't pretty. Problems like missed appointments, lack of follow-up, and sloppy workmanship are unfortunately common complaints. Hey, it's Jay, and that's not the case when you hire Semperfi Roofing. In fact, they make 3 promises to their customers. First, they'll respect your time by being on time for appointments, promptly following up and doing what they say they'll do. Second, you'll get a perfect roof installed by their highly skilled roofing crews. And finally, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. No other roofing company can offer you a longer, more comprehensive warranty. So, over-the-top customer service, a perfect installation, and a 50-year leak-free guarantee. It's easy to see why Semperfi has so many 5-star reviews and why they're different from every roofing company in town. Right now, get $500 off of a new roof and no interest financing until 2031. Set up your free 21-point roof inspection today, 262-600-2910, or online at SemperfiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Mental health care is a journey, and no one should have to navigate it alone. At Sagent Behavioral Health, we're here for every twist and turn to support your path towards growth. Formerly Nystrom and Associates, Sagent offers trusted therapy, psychiatry, and other mental health services for children, adolescents, and adults in the Milwaukee area. With in-person and telehealth options, our support moves with you wherever life leads. Sagent Behavioral Health. New name, same care. Learn more at sagentbh.com.
Homeowners, are you ready to transform your house into the neighborhood showpiece? Wilco Exteriors has your back with 2 incredible offers you don't want to miss. Choose LP SmartSide for your siding project and receive a free upgraded custom color that comes with a lifetime finish warranty that you never have to paint again. Or receive a free entry door when you replace a house full of windows or do any siding project. With top quality products and professional installation, you have peace of mind your home will look immaculate for years to come. So visit wilcoext.com. That's WILCOEXT.com. Wilco Exteriors, built with integrity.
Verneri award-winning home renovating.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. For many years, Bernie Madoff sold something incredibly rare on Wall Street: consistency. Year after year, his returns were steady, high, reliable, building a reputation among investors. If your money was with Madoff, you were doing all right. He answered to a wide variety of clients: banks, hospitals, schools, charities, and even Hollywood big names like Kevin Bacon and Steven Spielberg. It was smooth sailing for Madoff. That is, until December 2008. Bernie Madoff was arrested at his luxury Manhattan penthouse. For decades, Madoff sold lies. He wasn't running a hedge fund. He was running a multi-billion-dollar Ponzi scheme, the largest in history. For more on this impactful moment in history or our other podcasts, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
No, really, there was a small group of libs today out at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pond protesting in support of the algae. That you can't kill the algae that has made the reflecting pool look terrible for decades because it's a living thing. These are the same people who will tell you that a fetus is just a clump of cells. But they'll go all out for the algae. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up this hour, a Wisconsin congressman introduces voter ID legislation. Nationwide voter ID. Why don't we have this yet? Well, the answer is about why you would expect, because there is one political party, despite the wishes of 75-80% of all voters, including a clear majority of their own, they just don't want voter ID. Why? Well, there's the real reason and the reason that they're telling you. The reason that they're telling you is because voter ID is racist. Once again, as Thomas Sowell said, the soft bigotry of low expectations that racial minorities just can't seem to get photo ID. You need photo ID to do everything. You need a government-issued ID to do anything and everything in this country. But there's a presupposition that black people in inner cities like Milwaukee can't get them. That's still, I've never understood the backhanded racism. There's no soft bigotry about that. That is just plain bigotry. Well, black people are too poor and too dysfunctional to be able to get ID, so they might be disenfranchised. That is a fundamentally racist belief by the anti-racist party. So that's the reason the real reason is very obviously, as the LA mayoral election should have showed, is that there's a significant percentage of votes that come in that benefit one political party that might not come in if we were actually checking that everybody who voted was who they say they were. So that's coming up later on in the 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour, $2,500 on the line in our $250K USA giveaway, and also big interview with Senator Ron Johnson about a column he wrote exclusively for the Heartland Post, the digital web initiative that I serve as editor-in-chief of. Nobody else would take it. So, of course, we said, yes, absolutely, we would. USA Today, New York Times, even Fox News Digital refused to publish Senator Johnson's data-backed, fact-based op-ed about how the government under the Biden administration was systematically covering up data that showed the COVID-19 vaccine was actually injuring people. And regardless of what you think about COVID vaccines and whether or not they were safe, whether or not they were, regardless of what you think about the vaccine truther debate, vaccine injuries and the like, regardless of what you think, the fact that there is government data out there that is being presented by the chair of the Permanent Select Committee Subcommittee on Investigations, someone who literally does this as part of his congressional oversight authority and has access to the actual documents, the actual facts here. The fact that that is being intentionally suppressed because it's information that is just uncomfortable is very, very troubling, to say the least. So yesterday after the show, I took off almost immediately to meet basically all the dudes in my family for a movie night. We went with some very close family friends as well. There were like 8 or 9, 10 of us, my brother, brother-in-law, nephew, 2 sons, father-in-law. And we all saw Disclosure Day. Spoiler alert, it was a lot of boomer lib slop. But it's still Spielberg. The man still knows how to tug at your heartstrings and still knows how to do pretty cool alien sequences. The movie, the plot is something of a mess, but I think it's fitting that the entire plot of the movie is the government attempting to keep major secrets from you. And then the media, basically because of people who put their trust in, weirdly enough, the local evening news in Kansas City. Not exactly sure why they wanted to get it on local TV instead of, just putting it on the internet like the, WikiLeaks files. But they put their trust in media to broadcast and disseminate the truth that the government doesn't want revealed. Oh, and by the way, in this movie, again, no spoilers, the bad guy they're not being chased by the government, which is trying to cover up existence of aliens and UFOs and all of that. It's basically Palantir. It's basically the new capitalists, Colin Firth. Basically, he does a wonderful job as the bad guy. Just bizarre. Again, boomer libs slop. And it is this naive belief by the boomer libs that the media exists to provide people with the truth. Well, it does if that truth happens to coincide with the preferred liberal government narrative. But what we saw during the Biden administration was the truth about COVID origins, about mask mandates and the efficacy of masks and lockdowns, and all of it was suppressed. The 2020 election, if you dared to suggest, again, that I had the truth on my side, I had documented evidence that got turned into a criminal investigation, that there was vote fraud going on in nursing homes across Wisconsin. That criminal investigation down in Racine County, that started by somebody reaching out to me that her mother's vote was stolen from her. That was documented evidence of fraud. I was suppressed. I was booted off of YouTube. I couldn't live stream multiple times, but it was inconvenient to the government's narrative. I'm telling you, if the aliens do exist and they're anti-Trump and their great message is not, you need to come together as one people, but rather Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were running a pedophile, you better damn well believe they'll release those files. Otherwise, if it doesn't go along with the preferred lib narrative, they'll cover it up and the media will help them. So Ron Johnson coming up about 45 minutes, 50 minutes from right now. Now, we get to the update on all things going on in Washington. We try to provide you with the unvarnished truth. You hear directly from the president, the vice president, members of the cabinet. It is the Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Vice President J.D. Vance taking the podium in the daily press briefing as White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is out on maternity leave. We do, of course, wish the very best for her and her new little one. The vice president, of course, was peppered with questions about the Iran deal, which was signed early ahead of the signing ceremony that was to take place tomorrow. Instead, both sides signed on to that agreement. And Vance said today, look, this deal is already providing benefits to the American people and all peoples across the globe.
I think the president's peace plan in Iran is already bearing real fruits for the American people. Last night, 12.5 million barrels of oil went through the Strait of Hormuz. That is a high since the beginning of the conflict. Oil prices are down nearly at their level from the pre-war conflict. Gas prices dropped below $4 a gallon today for the first time since the conflict. And importantly, they're going to keep falling further given how low oil prices are. On the military side, the Iranians for the second night in a row did not shoot at any ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So far, they are honoring their end of the commitment. And on the blockade, CENTCOM has allowed north of a dozen ships to go through our naval blockade. And so we're also honoring our end of the early part of the agreement. On the military side, a couple of things that are still true and will be true whether the Iranians comply with the rest of the deal or not. Number one, their nuclear program has been completely destroyed. Their capacity for enrichment, the facilities at which they were using to develop enrichment and develop a potential nuclear weapon, those facilities are still destroyed. Their conventional military is is still destroyed. Their capacity to threaten their neighbors is still largely gone. And now we see whether they are willing to comply with the next step of the president's peace plan.
And that was the theme of what Vance had to say today, that if Iran complies, then the entire world is open to it. Then we can start talking about a broader step forward for the Middle East. If it doesn't, well, we've got a tremendous leverage play here. I have seen a whole lot of criticism and skepticism about this deal and the belief that the U.S. should have just taken Karg Island, should have just decimated the remnants of the Iranian regime months ago. And while I am sympathetic to that argument, I am. What this does is to create an incentive structure. There is both a carrot and there is a stick. The stick is total annihilation. As President Trump said, death from above and the destruction of everything. The taking of Karg Island, the ruination of the Iranian economy, total regime change, utter destruction and chaos. But Karg Island still exists. The Iranians can still refine oil. They can still have an economy. They can still rebuild, provided that they go along with this memorandum of understanding and every single deal point that is agreed to. Vance today responded to those skeptics of the agreement.
I've seen skeptics of the deal. People say the Iranians will never change their behavior. Well, maybe that's true. And if so, they don't get any of the benefits of the bargain. But isn't it worth trying? Isn't it worth seeing whether this incredibly weakened position that the president of the United States has put the Iranians under, whether that motivates them to change their behavior, not just vis-a-vis the West, but vis-a-vis the Middle East? And one of the interesting things about this is, the technical details of this we can, of course, get into. There are going to be any number of opinions about the negotiation, about where it's ultimately going to go. But I tend to think that you should trust the people who know the Iranians the best and who have the most to lose. What are the Gulf Arab states saying about this deal? What are they saying about this deal compared to the JCPOA in 2015? This is the Obama nuclear deal. Well, back then, they hated that deal. They felt like it empowered the Iranians to be bad actors across the region. And of course, that's exactly what happened. They were right about that. What are they saying about the president's peace deal? They're saying this is an amazingly transformative thing for the region because either way, we and the broader region win. Iran is weakened, their nuclear program destroyed, their economy in desperate straits. And if they change their behavior, big things are going to happen for Iran and for the world. If they don't, no skin off our backs. Either way, we win. And that's the way the president has set up this deal and this negotiation.
And that's what he's been saying all along, both the president and the vice president, that if Iran doesn't go along with this, well, then what? It's another day and a half bombing raid, and we take Karg Island in, 4 hours? This is the thing. I don't think people fully grasp how advanced our military technology is and how we can literally rain death and destruction from space, from anywhere at any time, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. What this past 6 months should have shown everybody is that militarily, we are so much more advanced than any other country on Earth. And really, I mean, the idea that we would be in a country for 20 years is so beyond obsolete because of the advances in said technology. And what was critical there, what Vance said, was that, and I actually went back and looked to see how the Gulf states, how the Arab states responded to the Iran nuclear deal. And they sounded like Republicans here in America of the day in blasting it, because they're saying all you're doing is bribing Iran by giving it plane loads of cash, and you're not having any meaningful checks on whether or not they actually comply. There is no fear of any sort of strike, any sort of attack, any sort of repercussions for violating the deal. The biggest difference between the Obama deal and this deal is this is a president who has already showed he will destroy the entire country and kill an entire leadership structure without even thinking twice about this. And Vance today was asked specifically about the differences between the Obama deal and this deal, as a whole lot of critics, especially those on the right, are saying, like, this is just like the JCPOA. No, it isn't, in very critical ways.
The difference between the two agreements. So first of all, the two big differences are not even in the substance of the deal itself, but something I said earlier are, number one, the Gulf Coast Coalition loves this deal because they think that it makes Iran weaker. They hated the Obama deal because they thought that it made Iran stronger. They know more about this, and they have more to lose than anybody, including the United States of America, so I trust their judgment. The second thing is where the deal came from. You have to remember, in 2015, Iran had built a sophisticated nuclear weapons program with a nuclear weapons stockpile. So the perspective that we came at as the United States was, you already have a really nice nuclear program. We're going to bribe you with American money in order to stop it. Our perspective and where we're coming at it is, we already destroyed your nuclear program. And so if you promise and show verifiable pathways to not rebuild it, then we're willing to give you some sanctions relief and things like that. So it's a fundamentally different perspective. Now, there are all these substantive differences as well. The Obama nuclear deal allowed enrichment. Ours will not. The Obama deal allowed the accumulation of stockpiled weapons-grade material. Ours is actually leading to the destruction of that stockpile of enriched material. So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American money. So a lot of substantive differences, but I think the most important differences are where we're coming at it from a position of strength and the fact that our Gulf Coast partners love this deal.
That's it, exactly. That Iran is already defeated militarily, diplomatically, economically, and we can come back and finish them off even further. They were coming at the deal with Obama from a position of defiance and relative strength. Here, it is thorough weakness. And again, if they try to be defiant, well, all they need to do is to look up to see why that's a bad, bad idea. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
94 eastbound with crash at Highway 164, Pewaukee Road in the left lane. Further east, you're jammed from 70th to 27th. Westbound 94 has delays 25th to Holly, Highway 100 to Moreland. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wisconsin Maritime Museum. Step aboard Subfest on the 4th of July. Tour the submarine where vets answer questions on board and experience history close up, plus special admission savings. Then head outside for more fun than Manitowoc's fireworks. WisconsinMaritime.org.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena, streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu.
And you can be there
for a weekend full of superstar performances.
Are you ready?
Once-in-a-lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
We're getting this party going, huh?
Only limited single-night tickets remain. Get yours while you still can now at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Based in Lake Country, I'm Endurance Exteriors, Ryan Ketchum. Endurance Exteriors is the company you'd create to do your roof, siding, windows, or gutters if you could. Virtually every roofer hastily prepares and rushes through the project. Endurance remodels your home the way you would with meticulous quality control and attention to detail. Our smaller crews may take 3 days to re-roof or re-side your home because an expertly managed, chaos-free job site provides superior results over too many workers pushing to be done in one day. With Endurance Exteriors, every expert on your property is superiorly trained to install to better than warranty specification, lifetime manufacturer warranty, GAF roofs or siding and windows. Our employee professionals treat your property, family, and neighbors with unwavering respect. Endurance Exteriors charges on average 20% less than the slap it up and go roofer for just as you would if you could installation, care, quality material, and workmanship warranted for life, GAF roofs or siding and windows. Exterior remodeling the way you would if you could. EnduranceExteriors.com. That's EnduranceExteriors.com. EnduranceExteriors.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Owe the IRS or state more than 20 grand? ClearPath Tax Strategies is local, Wisconsin's #1 team of tax professionals who fight for the lowest possible settlement. Call ClearPath Tax Strategies, 262-786-4442. No judgment, just results.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
From Wisconsin to the world and everywhere in between, the Mark Belling Podcast, My Take on Everything, Season 2 is underway. New episodes drop Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts.
See, this is the thing about all of the criticism of the Iran deal, and please don't misunderstand. I'm very skeptical that the Iranians are going to comply with any of it. I'm also very skeptical that the president is going to do anything about it before the midterm elections. Afterwards, all bets are off. If Iran does not comply, if there is any inkling that there is going to be any sort of defiance or any sort of bad action or any sort of regression to the mean of Iranian regime behavior, there will be a return of American forces. There will be a return of American military tech. And this is the thing that has been so revolutionary about the Trump presidency. And a big function of this is the fact that he happens to be president now and not, say, right after 9/11, because George W. Bush got a lot of flack for the way that the Iraq war and the war in Afghanistan were prosecuted. And, you know, obviously the overall idea that we could export American democracy was fundamentally flawed. And as I spent a long time yesterday explaining, what we are exporting now is American capitalism. What Trump is trying to incentivize is good behavior and every Middle East nation swimming in the right direction, not because, well, you can have an American-style government. This is sort of the ultimate conservative power play. Who cares what your government structure is? You can have an American-style economy where every natural resource is used to the fullest benefit of your people, where you can be a hub for tourism, a hub for global commerce, and that your nation can have the sort of self-determination that ours did. And you yourself, Middle Eastern despot, can be regarded as the greatest, an almost godlike figure as a leader of your country. He's playing to vanity. He's playing to greed. He's playing to the elevation of all nations through the common language of currency, of commerce. Remember, commerce, not chaos. It's the key to all of it. All you have to do, get rid of the terrorists, lock them up, execute them. We don't frankly care. I know this sounds terrible, but not our country, not our concern, unless they start attacking American positions or threatening American interests. And you also have to pledge not to constantly promise to destroy Israel. That's it. That's it. And the benefit of American support, American dollars, American tourism, trade with America, all of it, American tech, it's all at your disposal. It's all at your fingertips. This is why the broader Middle East is very supportive of Trump and the Trump doctrine, and why ultimately the Iranian regime had to go, because it was the primary chaos agent, saw which way the political winds were blowing in the region, saw what the Americans were trying to do, and went into overdrive trying to develop a nuclear weapon so they, like the North Koreans, could exist as a hermit nation, a vassal state of China, and essentially stay in power by the constant threat of nuclear annihilation of Israel or all of us. That couldn't be allowed to stand. Iran's nuclear program was destroyed. They were trying to rebuild it. They were trying to get the Chinese to go down into the ruins of the Fordo nuclear facility, get what Trump calls the nuclear dust, the enriched uranium or near enriched uranium, the ability for Iran to very quickly get back to business on developing nuclear capable ballistic missiles and all of that. It was determined was very, very quickly in the offing because China sees what we're doing, folks. As I explained yesterday, none of this happens in a vacuum. None of this is just about Iran or just about Venezuela. It's all about the coming and current conflict, the geopolitical game of chess. Everybody, it's become a cliche to say that Trump is playing 4D or 5D chess. Well, here he actually is. Because right now we are in an arms race against China. No, they can't beat us militarily. And by the way, the Venezuela strike, the raid that took out Maduro, do you know what that was timed to? The fact that half of the Chinese diplomatic team was actually in Caracas, Venezuela when it happened. So that we could show them firsthand how we just shut off Venezuela's air defense system. Do you know why we wanted to do that? Because Venezuela uses China's vaunted air defense system. We wanted to show the Chinese up close and personal. We can do that to Venezuela. We can do that to you too, and there is nothing you can do about it. We don't want to. We want to cooperate, but just know we are decades ahead of you militarily. We are decades ahead of you technologically. And what all of this is about staying that way. We have choked off China's supply of oil. It was coming from Venezuela. It was coming from Iran. Now we effectively control both avenues. All of this is to power, yes, China's manufacturing sector, yes, our war machine, but the real war is being fought over data, over computing power, known as compute, over space, over new tech that right now America dominates. What all of this was about is about choking off China's ability to have the most powerful commodity, the engine of all of it, oil, which powers everything, so that they would be able to catch us on the AI front. This is why, folks, the data center debate here in Wisconsin is so incredibly important. No, I don't particularly want a data center in my backyard either. And frankly, I think it is not terrible politics to essentially force these companies to think smarter about where they're putting data centers, how big they need to be, and what it is that they are going to give these communities in exchange for the construction of them. How they're going to be powered, what resources they're going to take. But make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the data centers do need to be on American soil. They do need to be here because we can't risk the Chinese or any other nation who is even neutral or a supposed ally of America who could be corrupted or bought off by China or any other hostile actor to have access to the data, to have access to the ability to get to our level technologically or militarily. Folks, AI is powering everything militarily. I said I watched that movie Disclosure Day. I was chuckling about this boomer lib notion that you needed to have this magical like alien rod that was, it's known it's a cliche known in movie making as a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin is just a random object that exists solely to advance the plot. One of the most famous examples is the suitcase, the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Why Jules Wingfield and whatever John Travolta's character was named, why they're going after these guys to get this briefcase. So the briefcase is irrelevant. What's in the briefcase? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's a MacGuffin. All it does is move the plot along. So Disclosure Day has these magical alien rods. It was sort of like that old episode of The Simpsons where Homer thinks he's going to get Employee of the Month because every employee has to get Employee of the Month, and he's the only one at the entire nuclear plant who hasn't gotten it. And Mr. Burns instead gives it to this inanimate carbon rod. Well, the inanimate carbon rod was like the MVP. It was the Employee of the Month of the movie Disclosure Day. And I was laughing because I said, this is clearly written by a boomer. You don't need this MacGuffin in the film because we have the technology to do surveillance. They were using it to like surveil on the good guys so they could catch up with the good. We have the ability to track anybody, anywhere, at any time. Why we can't do that here in the United States as law enforcement agencies? Because we are protected by the Bill of Rights as American citizens. The Iranians, the Chinese, hostile nations don't have that. What powers that? Data, compute. All of it. All of it needs to be in America, manufactured in America, contained within America, so that America controls the future. This is all about establishing the 2000s and the 2100s, the 2000s, as not the American century, but the American millennium. It all starts here. All of this is aimed at China. All of this literally is 4 and 5D chess. And the fact that you still have Karg Island keeping the Iranians essentially alive, that is a very powerful carrot to go along with the even more powerful stick of the might of the American military coming back and just saying, okay, you had your chance, Iran. Now you don't have a country. Now you're a wholly owned subsidiary of the United States. It's sort of like we're opening up a gas station where your country once was. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
94 westbound is the worst of it. It's jammed 25th to Holly, and again from the Zoo to Moorland. It's slow again around Highway F. Also slow eastbound 94. That's jammed 70th to 35th. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Infinity Exteriors. Infinity Exteriors has that new look you're looking for. Siding, windows, roofing, and more. All the latest styles come with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Join over 60,000 happy homeowners and get started at infinityexteriors.com.
It's a 9-day celebration that defines summer in our city. It's Summerfest 2026. More than 600 artists playing on 11 stages over 3 weekends, June 18th through the 20th, June 25th through the 27th, and July 2nd through the 4th, all at Meyer Festival Park on Milwaukee's spectacular lakefront. Mix in fabulous food, a few adult beverages, and several 100,000 of your friends, and you have the ultimate summer party. It's Summerfest 2026.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, a fee-only fiduciary.
Fee-only fiduciary really further separates the folks that either say fiduciary some of the time or best interests altogether. And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paved patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move's been offering landscape services for over 47 years and now offers stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
From planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future in finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
David Brownsdorf here, disclosing Flawless Flooring's secret weapon to businesses other than flooring company owners.
Whoa, sounds scary.
Scary good. Our iNet website, SEO, and radio marketing completely transformed Flawless with incredible results, delivering opportunity, spurring business growth.
Thought you were going to say, after months of alchemy, you've created a carpet stink and stain removal magic elixir.
That would be a carpet knife and dumpster.
Flawless Flooring added carpeting to both showrooms, becoming a true one-stop flooring shop since coming to iNet.
And we have the best flooring website in Wisconsin.
Likely the best anywhere. More important, how are sales?
Since partnering with iNet, sales doubled. iNet's laser-focused SEO drives insane traffic to our site and customers to the showrooms. Hiring iNet is casting a net, catching all the right customers.
Clever, Dave. Sensory Underload. Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Not as clever as your creative genius branding and radio ad writing. iNet-web.com. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
iNet will improve your business's economy.
Save on Bosch tools during Nye's June summer sale event. Save $200 on a Bosch 10-inch table saw, only $499.99. Get a free battery and charger with an 18-volt Pro Factor blower for $199.99. Buy $1,000 in Bosch tools, get a free Bluetooth radio at $229 value. Meet Bosch factory reps June 24th from 8 to 5. It's Nye's summer sale event featuring Bosch power tools. Highways 41, 45, and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NEUShardware.com.
Nervous about your retirement accounts or bank accounts? Tune into Striking Gold with Kenny Michaels every weekend and learn more about precious metals. That's Striking Gold by Golden Crest Metals. GoldenCrestMetals.com.
Summer and fall are a great time to do a kitchen remodel because you can grill outside and eat out on the patio. Let Greg and Kim Ward and their great crew give you your dream kitchen or master bath this year. Ward K&B is a family-owned business that has an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and you'll always be dealing directly with the owners. Also, with Ward's new boutique-style showroom, you can see and compare all of your options in one convenient space. Find them at wardkitchenandbath.com. Ward Kitchen and Bath.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup update.
Switzerland takes down Bosnia 4-1 to pick up their first win of the tournament.
Puts the exclamation mark on it for Switzerland. 4-1.
The match was scoreless at halftime before an onslaught of goals in the second half in stoppage time. Earlier in the day, Czechia and South Africa played to a 1-1 draw. South Africa converted a late second half penalty to earn a point.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app.
The next generation is here.
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming
Yeah, this is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
All right, Doug, did you play this bump to mock me? Absolutely. The future is coming on. Dan O'Donnell is the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking during the commercial break that I don't even know how this is possible. I did not realize that tonight Summerfest started. You talk about entering a new phase of life. I long ago ended the phase of trying to go as many nights as possible to Summerfest. I mean, I had kids when I was 25, something like that. That kind of ended that quick. But I'd still go to big shows. I saw some great Summerfest shows in the past. I had no idea. I don't know what I thought. Garth Brooks was playing 2 straight nights at the Summerfest grounds, and then we would take a week off, and then Summerfest would start. I don't know. You know what it is? I am so used to Summerfest, even though this hasn't happened for several years. Summerfest starting that last week of June and then going 11 straight days until the 4th of July weekend was typically when it would end. Now it's 3 straight weekends, and fellow boomer in spirit, Doug Russell and I, my producer, were talking about how we miss the old format, and we texted. We asked my 18-year-old son, recent high school graduate, he is going down with a bunch of his friends, and we said, okay, do you like this format better or the old format? Of course, the Gen Zers like this one, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And admittedly, I get it. I became friends with the former Summerfest CEO, Don Smiley. Great guy. Just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And he explained, okay, look, we don't want to have the strategy of just cramming as many human beings into the park as possible. We want to have the best possible experience. What they determined, first of all, they got rid of Monday. They got rid of, it would be the opening Wednesday through Sunday night, and then Monday they would be closed, and then they would resume Tuesday through Sunday. Well, what do you find out? Not a whole lot of people are going on Tuesday and Wednesday. You get a lot of kids, you get a lot of high school and college kids, but what they want are people of all ages who are going out buying how much is beer? Would you say $12? Buying the $10 Miller Lights, $12 Miller Lights, and just having a great time. So now it's 3 consecutive weekends, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. I still, Doug, you and I are in agreement. I still don't like the fact that Summerfest is not open on Sunday. Yeah, I really hate it. I know nobody wants to stay up. You get the Sunday scaries and whatnot. You get that. Yeah, thank you, Doug. He says Sunday fun day. I never get, maybe it's because I'm in a job where I genuinely enjoy coming and doing what I do. I don't think I have ever, the concept of these Sunday scaries where you just get nervous and anxious on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening because you got to go back to work or go back to school on Monday morning. I don't get that. But I guess a lot of people don't want to go out. I mean, you've got Summerfest headliners going on at 10:15 p.m. You're not getting back until midnight, 1 a.m. I understand it. I think it should be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the first 2 weekends, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the last weekend, or if you will, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's just my opinion, because then you get back to the 11 days. I think one of the issues also, though, especially in the post-COVID era that they have run into is, and you saw it this year with just the dramatic reshuffling of lineups. Have you heard of the, what do they call it? The blue seat flu or the gray seat flu? It's a whole lot of musical acts are canceling their tours because they're claiming, it's illness. What it really is the concerts aren't selling that well. When COVID opened up, touring acts it was huge. I mean, it was just a big deal because you had everybody who couldn't go and see live music forever, or at least it felt that way, going back. And then, of course, you had like this monster tour. You had the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, biggest in history. And then you had Beyonce and all of this. Well, what some of these acts are finding is that, A, they're pricing themselves out of the market. B, they're booking stadiums and arenas that are just way too big for them. And people aren't showing up in the numbers that they used to. So what you're also finding is that with fewer bands, fewer artists out on tour because of all of this, it's real difficult to get an 11-day music festival. I mean, Summerfest it bills itself as the world's largest music festival. And it was always by not attendance, but I believe it was by the sheer number of days that it goes on. I think it's still the world's largest music festival. And I mean, it's always going to bill itself as that. But if that's technically true still, I don't know. I will acknowledge Summerfest is no longer for me, even though I work in the media. It boggles my mind. I work in the media industry in Milwaukee, and I forgot that Summerfest started today. Can I be an old fart? No, back in my day, it was such a massive event. One thing I don't miss, though, one thing I truly do not miss is every Milwaukee TV news station just abandoning actual news coverage for 11 days and covering only Summerfest. People laugh at me when I say this is what happened in the 90s and early 2000s. Seriously, you would have every news channel broadcast from Summerfest, and the only news stories that they would do would be Summerfest related. It would be like the Pope could die in a water skiing accident, and Milwaukee would still be covering Summerfest. The lead story would be the guy who has had a beer at Summerfest at exactly 12 noon when they open for 40 consecutive years. And it'd be like at the very end, in other non-Summerfest news, the Pope died in a water skiing accident. More details on July 7th when Summerfest is over. I'm glad that's no longer dominating news coverage here in Wisconsin, but I'll be honest with you. I miss it because it doesn't feel like the same larger than life event, but I will gladly give the caveat because I'm just not at the age anymore where Summerfest is a big, exciting, incredible thing. That said, I probably will still go tonight to go see Passion Pit. We'll be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
43 southbound jammed with a lot of people headed to Summerfest. You're heavy from Capitol through the Marquette interchange and down to about Beecher. 4145 northbound is jammed with road work from Watertown Plank to Hampton. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. When you hear a good deal, it's natural to do a double take. That's what you might do when you hear Discover will automatically double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
At California Closets, we design for the little things. Take this moment of a woman getting dressed for an early meeting while her husband's still asleep. Sorry. And now, the California Closets version of that moment, featuring custom soft close drawers. Bedroom and home storage solutions by designers who get you. California Closets. More room for what matters.
Hey, business owners, want to sell your business? Then call Lake Country Advisors. This summer, we'd love to invite you to our new office on Pewaukee Lake. It's our same trusted team delivering the same proven results, just with a new conference room out on our boat. So if you want to successfully sell your business, then visit us today at lakecountryadvisors.com and schedule your free consultation out on the lake. Local, experienced, trusted, and now on Pewaukee Lake. We are Lake Country Advisors.
Welcome back to Ask Hassellus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Are you the Weston from Hassellus Mattress?
That's me.
I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, well, thanks.
The way you talk about employee-free Hassellus showroom, free next-day delivery, and prices that are way low. I mean, nobody does it better.
I don't know what to say.
Say that I can get a free box spring with the purchase of any Sealy Posturepedic or Beauty Rest mattress.
Okay. Now through Monday, at Hassellus, get a free box spring with the purchase of any Sealy Posturepedic or Beauty Rest mattress.
Awesome.
You know what's really awesome? You can get a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Queen Elm Cove A mattress. Others sell it for $1,459, but Hassellus has it for just $794.
I know. I have that tattooed on my...
Wow, you really are a fan.
Told ya.
Save big and get a free box spring through Monday at Hassellus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
I'm Tom Tiffany, and for some reason, Madison Democrats say I'm too cliche. Well, I did grow up milking cows on a Wisconsin dairy farm. My mom quilts.
Hi.
I've been a dam tender, boat captain, husband, and girl dad with perfect attendance at 20 Nutcrackers. I love the Packers, Brewers, Badgers, and of course the Bucks. Butterburgers, old fashions, everything Wisconsin except Madison politics. I'm Tom Tiffany. I'm running for governor to bring down the cost of living by cutting property taxes, utility rates, and red tape. By stopping institutional investors on Wall Street from buying our homes and big data from bulldozing our farmland. Finally, I will audit every state government agency to root out all the waste and fraud you and I both know is happening in Madison. Cliche? You betcha.
Paid for by Tiffany for Wisconsin.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis. And that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
After the top of the hour, big interview with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, who wrote a column that you'll only read at the Heartland Post because it has been systematically suppressed by the rest of the media about vaccine injuries and the actual data that Wisconsin's senator, as chair of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, uncovered. We will talk about that and give you another chance at $2,500 in our $250K USA giveaway right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Well, we were laughing about the inanimate carbon rod. It was a recurring joke from The Simpsons. I think it was Homer Goes to Space. That was the episode like 30 years ago. And all I could think of while watching the movie Disclosure Day, when they had this like alien stick that they could use to do anything, turn invisible or, remotely view anybody. I thought this is the inanimate carbon rod from The Simpsons. I think it's only fitting that our unsung hero of the day also be an inanimate object. Today's unsung hero of the day is ranch dressing. You heard me, ranch dressing. Why? Because visiting World Cup fans from Europe and across the country, across the world, love it so much as they travel across the country. We here in America put ranch on like everything. Vegetables, burgers, fries, ice cream. Okay, maybe not that one, but they are loving it so much that, and they can't get ranch dressing in the insane quantities that we have here, that they're planning on taking it back to them. They're posting just how much they love ranch dressing on everything. So much so that the TSA has reminded European tourists that they need to not pack the massive quantities of ranch that they're bringing back in their carry-on bags because it'll get confiscated. Don't chug that ranch, Euros. Pack it safely in your checked baggage. Ranch dressing, which again, it's another thing, a small thing we take for granted that people visiting this country absolutely love. So it's the spirit of Americanism imbued in that ranch dressing. Really, that is your unsung hero of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Haig. President Donald Trump signed the Memorandum of Understanding at the Palace of Versailles, putting the U.S.-Iran deal into immediate effect. Nuclear talks aimed at securing a broader agreement are ongoing. In Milwaukee County Court this afternoon,
the verdicts are not guilty on all 6 counts.
Amandria Brunner acquitted of all 6 felonies she faced in connection to the deaths of 2 Marquette University lacrosse players in a crash last September. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Brewers had a couple of chances to get ahead in the late innings, but the Guardians hung on to win 4-2 at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Bob Haig. On Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show is presented by Warshawski Law.
Insurers don't want to pay. We'll make them pay. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski Law.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by WillysWorldCustoms.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Early morning clouds and sprinkles will give way to sunshine today. Temperatures will climb to the low 70s. Slight chance for an evening shower or storm, then similar conditions Friday with a high of 74 and a slight chance of showers. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Spring Gardens Landscaping in New Berlin.
Spring Gardens Landscaping in New Berlin is a family-run business that lives by the motto of beauty by nature, function by design. Put Spring Gardens to work for your business or residence and watch your property blossom. Visit springgardens.inc.com today.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve. My experience in the ER led me to establish Reset Restore MD, or R&R MD Ketamine Therapy Center. Sadly, right now, depression, anxiety, addiction, chronic pain, and PTSD are too common. Relief for people depressed, anxious, battling addiction, or living their life in pain is critically important. Traditional treatments can create potentially dangerous side effects, even suicidal feelings. While mental health issues can widely be misunderstood, they are real. People with treatment-resistant depression, anxiety, addiction, PTSD, or pain often have deficient levels of feel-good chemicals, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, locking them in an endless cycle of sadness, pain, and anxiety. No matter what they do, symptoms remain. Ketamine helps retrain the brain out of this cycle, stimulating normal release of feel-good chemicals. A ketamine infusion takes about an hour at R&R MD. The reset or restore of feel-good chemicals can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here.
A tree planted in 1646 was instrumental to freedom you enjoy today.
For a decade, Sons of Liberty, including Paul Revere, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock, gathered under the Liberty Tree for meetings, speeches, and celebrations.
I'm Willow Voss. Makes me wonder what the historical significance trees Plant and Go plants might have hundreds of years from now.
If our oppressors didn't cut the Liberty Tree down, Cut and Go would meticulously manicure it for America's 250th anniversary. Cut and Go's remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated grapple saw operators will meticulously manicure your trees, removing damaged branches, limbs, even whole trees, getting your property ready to celebrate God's gift, America. Grind and Go removes eyesore trip hazard stumps, and Plant and Go will implement a maximum beauty and benefit new, potentially historic tree planting plan.
Happy 250th anniversary, a Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's cutandgotrees.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
A place where freedom of speech and freedom of thought live on. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Priester with your closing business report. The major averages were higher today, with tech stocks pacing gains as investors digested the signing of the interim U.S.-Iran peace deal and looked to recover after the Fed indicated a potential rate hike this year, which sparked yesterday's sell-off. And shares of Intel rose more than 10% following an announcement made by President Trump on Truth Social that Intel struck a deal with Apple to design and build chips in the United States. At the close, the Dow was up 73 points, the S&P 500 was up 80 points, the NASDAQ was up 496 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
5 o'clock hour starts right now here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and that means it is time to win $2,500, the $250K USA giveaway in just a second. Also standing by, Senator Ron Johnson to talk about his exclusive column for the Heartland Post, the story the media and the government don't want you to hear. An investigation that he did into adverse effects of the COVID-19 vaccine, documented evidence that those within the Biden administration, the government that were responsible for reporting this information to the public, for logging and documenting any adverse effects of the then new COVID vaccine, didn't just cover it up, but actively told the people who found those adverse impacts to stop looking. This is a massive scandal. And the fact that only the Heartland Post has run this op-ed, no national news coverage, no local state news coverage of this finding by Wisconsin's senator, no running of the op-ed, nothing. This in and of itself is scandalous. The way that true information is covered up and dismissed as conspiracy. The idea that truth can be marginalized through the label of conspiracy or conspiracy theorizing, that those who actually do have the data, that those who actually do have the truth are instead somehow sensationalists or fabulists. We will get into all of this in just a second. 414-799-1130. By the way, if you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show at any point, that is our Carpetland USA Flooring Center talk and text line. As always, email dod@iheartmedia.com. If you have truth that you would like to share, that's the best way to get information to me. A lot of times when we get exclusive stories, investigations that we do, they are launched by tips from people like you. Sources are always fully protected. I have never once burned a source in nearly 25 years of doing this, and I promise you, you will not be the first. DOD@iHeartMedia.com. At Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook, Instagram, as well, streaming live across social media on YouTube. And you can always listen to the show in podcast form. The Dan O'Donnell Show on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, $2,500 on the line right now. The $250K USA giveaway. Word for this hour is birthday. We are just a little more than 2 weeks away from America's 250th birthday. And to celebrate, we want to give you $2,500 right now. All you need to do, go to our website, enter the keyword birthday. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $2,500 each and every day. We are giving away $2,500 prizes at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. until ultimately our company gives away $250,000 in honor of America's 250th birthday. You've got until 5:55. Best of luck and happy birthday, America. Well, the importance of independent and conservative media cannot be understated. When government tries to hide information, the mainstream media, traditional left-wing media, and social media all too often assist them in this effort. Instead of publishing the truth that government tries to keep from the public, the media instead tries to cover it up. There is no greater example, perhaps, in recent memory than COVID-19. Whether it was just how effective the lockdowns were, the origins of the virus itself, and then in the development, efficacy, and safety of COVID vaccines, if you dared to suggest something outside of government sanctioned speech, you were censored off of social media, and traditional media would simply not allow that truth to ever get out. Well, enter entities like the Heartland Post. Today, the only news service to publish an op-ed from Senator Ron Johnson. It was refused by the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, and even Fox News Digital refused to publish an op-ed by Senator Johnson on COVID vaccine safety. NBC, ABC, PBS, CNN, MS Now, all refusing to cover a new report. And that report details how in March of 2021, Peter Marks, the director of the FDA center that approves vaccines and is responsible for safety surveillance, he was briefed that the algorithm they were using to analyze the VAERS system, vaccine adverse event reporting, would mask or hide COVID vaccine adverse event safety signals, i.e., people were having bad reactions to the vaccine. 26 days later, using an updated algorithm, senior FDA officials were shown 25 safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, cerebral artery occlusion, basal ganglia stroke, agonal rhythm, and Bell's palsy. For the next 3 months, they received updates showing more serious safety signals, but instead of warning or informing the public, they ordered the data analyst to cease and desist, and then lied to the American people that they weren't seeing safety signals and that any adverse events were rare and mild. That is Senator Ron Johnson writing at the Heartland Post today in an op-ed that we have titled "The Story the Media and the Government Don't Want You to Hear." Senator Ron Johnson joins me now on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sir, as the chairman of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, you have been digging into COVID-related government malfeasance for 6 years now. This, to me, seems like one of the most severe scandals that I think has yet come out about the COVID-19 situation.
No, first of all, Dan, thank you for having me on and for covering this, because as you say, the legacy media is radio silence. They're just ignoring this. I issued my report. I held my hearing 7 weeks ago now, 7 weeks. And I think it is the biggest government scandal in my lifetime, because so many people's lives were impacted. So many people died. So many people suffered grievous injury, including permanent disability, because they were not informed of what Peter Marks, high government officials in the FDA knew about the adverse events and reactions to the COVID injection. Again, I say in the column, put yourself in the position of a parent who believed the lies, who listened to President Biden saying this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. You got to get your child vaccinated so they don't infect your parent or their grandparents, so they don't die. Of course, we found out later on that it didn't prevent either infection or transmission. So again, all the lies we were told, and what's so sad about it, Dan, is the lies are still being told, and the legacy media won't tell the truth. I mean, we've got documented evidence now. We know they knew. We know they lied to us, and we can't get it published. I mean, it's a scandal in and of itself, so appreciate you doing it. I finally decided to publish it on X, and God bless Elon Musk for at least maintaining freedom of speech on the internet by buying X.
And that is so important because now we have a way to bypass information that on X would have been completely covered up. In fact, I can remember, sir, an interview that I did with you back in, it would have been the summer of 2022, in which we were talking about the COVID vaccine and just how effective it actually was and has been. And we were just going over the data. I was actually suspended from YouTube. My entire YouTube channel was suspended for something like a month, even though I was talking with someone, not who's just in the Senate, but who was actively using his position in government to investigate the exact thing he was talking about. But because it went against the government-approved narrative of the Biden administration, you had social media that was actively going along, and they didn't just take down the episode that you and I were discussing this. They actually took down my channel, and they gave me a strike and said, in effect, 1 or 2 more strikes, and we will just remove the Dan O'Donnell Show channel. It is that effective, the censorship era that we were in. And I think you're right that Elon Musk buying Twitter and turning it into a free speech platform did wonders for the rest of the gatekeepers of digital media. I mean, that to me is just as big a scandal, I think, as hiding the adverse effects of this vaccine.
Oh, there are so many scandals involved in our miserably failed response to COVID. But what's maybe even more chilling than the actual censorship is it was all pre-planned.
Yeah.
Remember Event 201, sponsored by Bill Gates and company, where they were, again, they had a plan to address a pandemic very similar to the one we had a few months later. And they were talking about the Trusted News Initiative, right? Where part of the thing is going to be, we're going to have to really stamp down on misinformation if we have this kind of pandemic. Misinformation like this didn't spring from a lab leak. This wasn't man-made. That would be a conspiracy theory.
Yep.
When again, it's been obvious for years that this was Anthony Fauci funded gain of function through Peter Daszak into the Wuhan lab, Ralph Baric out of North Carolina. Again, we've known this for years, and still, like, it's up in the air.
Yeah. How can they say that with it? I mean, that's the thing that got me initially. Well, first of all, it was in the earliest days of COVID-19 when the data was showing, hey, the only people who are getting really, really sick, the only people who are dying are the elderly and those with serious pre-existing conditions. Why don't we just focus our lockdown efforts on them? And maybe it's the best thing in, our best interest health-wise to open up the rest of the country. And if you need to be tested just to know you've got COVID as a young, healthy person, then maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that we get some form of herd immunity. That was backed by data. That was backed by all science, mask mandates too. I mean, you had a study put out by the Department of Health, by HHS, like 2 months before the pandemic saying, masks don't really work in these viral outbreaks, yet we still had mask mandates. It was obvious from the very beginning. Oh, you're saying the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where they're studying bat coronaviruses, is the place where we have an international outbreak of a bat coronavirus. I mean, all of this stuff that was just common sense. Like, even if you go with vaccines, right? We know there is some percentage of the population that will have an adverse effect, adverse impact, any medicine, any vaccine, anything, except this one. I mean, it was just the subversion of reality, the suppression of truth, of obvious truth. And I think you're right. This effort to turn anything that went away from approved government speech into some sort of conspiracy theory, it was remarkably effective in shutting down the truth, wasn't it?
Of course, Dan, if you even mentioned herd immunity or natural immunity, I mean, you were accused of wanting to kill people, which of course I was accused of repeatedly. So no, it was nasty back then. The whole point, one of my first hearings was with Johnny Unitas trying to calm everybody down on the basis of that Princess Cruise research project, you call it, where pretty early on we realized if you're elderly, have certain comorbidities, you need to be pretty, concerned about COVID, but otherwise that might be bad flu and you'll get over it. But they had to spread the fear. That's how they control our lives. And they've done it with climate change. They've done it with so many different things. They're trying to do it today. They're trying to do it with hantavirus or with Ebola.
Yeah.
Just name it. I mean, they're predicting another pandemic, which of course we need then to do these countermeasures. That's what all this is based on, by the way. This is bioweapons research. They do it supposedly legitimately. They say, oh no, we're just doing research to defend against some other bad actor conducting bioweapons research. Well, now we know we've been funding over 100 labs in other countries where they're not under control. We know all about all these lab leaks. It is insane that we actually create incredibly dangerous viruses all on the basis of, well, we need to protect ourselves in case somebody does that. Well, you just did it, and it got released from a lab. So again, this is so obviously stupid and evil, and yet it's all being covered up because there's so many people complicit in it. I mean, if you are the people that approve the injections, if you're one of the members of Congress who cut a video, get that jab, or Stephen Colbert with the dancing syringes behind you, the news media, doctors who prescribed it, who pushed it on their patients, nobody wants to admit something that they coerced or mandated or pushed on their patients actually killed or disabled them. But currently on VAERS, worldwide, over 39,000 deaths are being reported associated with this vaccine. 24% occur on the day of vaccination or within 1 or 2 days. And I know VAERS doesn't prove causation, but that's a correlation that the CDC, FDA should have been concerned about. But when I confronted Francis Collins about it in April of 2021, when there had 2,900 some deaths reporting on VAERS, I said, Dr. Collins, are you watching this? He said, well, we've attributed 6 of these deaths to the J&J. So what about the other 2,900? 100 people died. Yeah, 39,000 people die. And of course, we also know that about 1% of adverse events are actually reported to VAERS. So multiply that 39,000 or the 1.7 million adverse events currently on VAERS, multiply that by what, as much as a factor of 100? 10, 20, whatever. It's been a lot of harm that could have been avoided had our federal health agencies just been honest with the American people and said, listen, if you have comorbidities, maybe you ought to take this, but understand taking it, there are risks. This is a new genetic therapy. It's not a vaccine. It is not a vaccine. It's genetic therapy. And, we saw in the trials, people got hurt. We were getting deluged. I mean, they were deluged. They had to hire the contractor that was uploading the VAERS reports into VAERS had to hire 290 people just to deal with the backlog. And they're getting thousands of adverse events a day. And yet they were saying, well, we don't see anything here because we have this algorithm that we can say, that we know is hiding safety signals, that we can say, well, we're not seeing them. And of course, you'll never see what you're not looking for, right?
Yeah. And that's it. That is the perfect summation of what it is that government was doing. Senator Ron Johnson joining me here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, the exclusive op-ed at the Heartland Post, the story the media and the government don't want you to hear. Heartlandpost.com. And it wasn't just that they weren't looking for it. I mean, what your op-ed and your reports make clear is that they were targeting and they were trying to stop anybody who was looking for it. I mean, that to me is the real scandal. That, okay, we know that there is the potential for risk. We got an emergency use authorization. And frankly, I think the reason for this is pretty obvious, because if there are any alternate therapies that could be effective for COVID, you don't need emergency use for a vaccine. And if there are any adverse effects that get reported that rise to a certain level, you've got to pull the emergency use authorization. They wanted the vaccine. They wanted what I think was largely a placebo to get people to think at a large scale that, hey, we can go back to work. We can open up the country because we're protected by the vaccine. But when you actually have within the regulatory agencies that are supposed to be keeping the public safe, actively saying to the people who are investigating adverse effects, stop doing this. We don't want to find adverse effects. That to me is unconscionable. And that to me is, frankly, I think that is practically criminal.
And then those people who did it some of them are still in those same positions. We interviewed one of them, and they're impervious to our arguments. They're impervious to the data. They just keep saying that just didn't rise to a threshold of being considered a safety signal. I mean, it is mind-boggling. The analogy I use is, say you got a 2-year-old, say you can't have a cookie, and half a minute later you hear the cookie jar break, and you run into the kitchen, and there's the kid with his cookie in his hand. You go, I said you couldn't have a cookie. I don't have a cookie. Yes, you have a cookie. No, I don't have a cookie. And it's literally what I'm dealing with here right now with these ingrained bureaucrats who are responsible for approving and surveilling safety, and they didn't do their job. And again, there are multiple explanations. Again, having approved it, did you want to admit that you were causing so much harm, or were you being pressured by the Biden administration because they wanted to get approval so they could mandate it? I can't fully explain it, but again, getting back to my analogy, a parent who believed them had their child injected and their child never woke up or is now permanently disabled. That happened, which is why I say this is the biggest scandal in my lifetime. Somebody asked me, was this bigger than Watergate? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Nobody died in Watergate. We got 39,000 deaths at least. 1.7 million adverse events at least. People that I know, because I talk to them and working with them, that are permanently disabled. They're suffering. They're committing suicide. It's unbearable for them. And they can't get treatment because our federal health agencies won't come clean, won't admit it, won't acknowledge their injections. By the way, I know we're probably running out of time. I got to throw one more thing in.
No, sir, we'll take as long as you need to talk about this, please.
In March of 2021, the same month where they were warned they were going to hide the safety signals, NIH was diagnosing and treating people with severe injection injuries from the COVID injection. 23 of them in the end, and they told them, don't talk about this. We want to complete our study. Then once we have all of our data, then we'll present it to the doctors so they know the best guidelines for treatment. The problem is they never released the study. Only under pressure from the injection injured, when they started going public, about a year after I held my forum with some of them, they did a one-pager. They published a one-pager on a preprint server and told no one. It's like the Grinch, right? So solve world hunger. Tell no one. So doctors were never warned. And what's really despicable about it, the first thing they learned in treating these patients was early intervention and treatment was essential to having the best results. So they weren't telling doctors, hey, take this seriously. These are vaccine injuries. The CDC actually published a study in 2021 saying the kind of neurological harms done to people like Bree Dressen, whose life was completely upended, or anxiety. It's all in your head.
That's insane.
I mean, it's sick. It's sick is what it is. It's evil.
That's like gaslighting at industrial or governmental scale, is what that is. How do you feel like on a personal level, not just with you being labeled a conspiracy theorist, but talking to these people and getting to know these people who have lost loved ones, who have been impacted themselves, to be dismissed by those in government and media as essentially kooks?
Well, Dan, again, I don't care about what they say about me. The main reason I ran for a third term is nobody else was advocating for these people. But I met them. I knew them. A father who lost his best friend, his 16-year-old son, and nobody was listening to him. Again, all they wanted was to be seen, heard, and believed so they could be treated. And they're still not being heard, seen, or believed, or they're not being acknowledged, and so they're still lacking treatment. So suicide, their Facebook groups were canceled after that June 21st or 2021 event I held in Milwaukee. So their Facebook groups were taken down because of misinformation. So suicides went up because people didn't have support groups. Right now, they're probably at a psychological low, and the suicide rates within their groups of, tens of thousands of people. I think React 19 has 40,000 people. Their suicide rates are getting up because they're losing hope.
Yeah.
They've been battling this for 5 years, trying to get acknowledgement, trying to get treatment. It's just an ICD code out of CDC so that the doctors can be reimbursed for treating them. So these people are in despair, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to gain notoriety, or I'm certainly not going to not do it because I'm getting ridiculed. I'm fighting for these people who are fighting for their lives.
Well, sir, we cannot thank you enough for fighting for them, but really fighting for all of us, because fighting for the truth is fighting for the most fundamental of American virtues, fighting for the information that is attempted to be kept from the public. We are so fortunate to have you fighting for that truth. And we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show and the Heartland Post are honored to have this be part of the truth that we present to our audience. The op-ed, you will only read it at the Heartland Post because it was rejected everywhere else by Senator Ron Johnson. The story, the media, and the government don't want you to hear. It is available across social media at Dan O'Donnell Show, at Heartland Post WI, at Sen Ron Johnson, on X, Facebook as well, everywhere. Sir, thank you again. It is always a pleasure talking with you, and keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for covering the story.
Pleasure is all mine. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be back in just a second.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Rock Freeway southbound is jammed from Crowbar Drive to past 164 due to a serious accident, now blocking the right lane. Jefferson County 94 eastbound closed just past Highway 26 due to an accident. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by The Yard. Save 15% on swivel gliders right now at The Yard. Experience smooth swivel and glide comfort in outdoor furniture built to last. Don't wait. These are some of their most popular seats. Visit the Oconomowoc showroom today or shop buytheyard.net. The Yard. Life is better outdoors.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu.
And you can be there
for a weekend full of superstar performances.
Are you ready?
Once in a lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
We're getting this party going, huh?
Only limited single night tickets remain. Get yours while you still can now at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Hello?
Mr. Hoban?
Yes.
Hi, this is Amy from First American Bank. I got your message that you called, and I'm calling you right back.
Okay, I'll hold.
Oh, I'm not putting you on hold.
I'll just finish my tuna fish sandwich here and stay on hold until you get back to me.
No, Mr. Hoban.
Can you make it before the end of the day, though? I have a gentle yoga class at 7.
Mr. Hoban, are you new to First American Bank?
Yeah, I figured you got to be better than the big bank I was at. But I'm ready to hold now.
Mr. Hoban, I'm not putting you on hold.
What?
First American Bank is built on superb customer service. So besides offering the best loan deals in town, cash management service, and more, if we can't take your call right away, we call you back as soon as possible. First American Bank thinks of it as treating our customers like family. You treat your family with consideration and respect, right?
Can you put me on hold while I think about that?
Mr. Hoban.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rule.
Owe the IRS or state more than 20 grand? ClearPath Tax Strategies is local. Wisconsin's #1 team of tax professionals who fight for the lowest possible settlement. Call ClearPath Tax Strategies, 262-786-4442. No judgment, just results.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
WISN listeners are wise, enlightened, engaged, and have impeccably good taste. Thank you for making us Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Our thanks once again to Senator Ron Johnson. Again, whatever you think about the vaccine debate, the efficacy and safety of COVID vaccines or any vaccines, that's largely irrelevant. Okay. I mean, it is that the government was covering this up. The fact that the government was attempting to keep actual hard data about vaccine safety from the public, and that the media still, 5 years later, the COVID vaccines were rolled out in spring of 2021. 5 years later, a little more than 5 years later, they are still trying to silence this, still trying to cover it up, by refusing to run an op-ed by the guy who has been investigating this in Ron Johnson. The media, I've said, in this era, Woodward and Bernstein are literally conspiring with Richard Nixon instead of trying to expose him. I'm firmly convinced, even back then, if Nixon was a Democrat, he wouldn't have been impeached. He wouldn't have been threatened with removal from office. He would have never had to resign because the media would have just allowed him to do the very, comparatively speaking, minor. Now, don't get me wrong. Nixon, I think you can argue, committed multiple crimes. But what's going on now with respect to government secrecy, with respect to illegal behavior up and down government, it's not even comparable. And the fact that you've got, I mean, just look at the scandal. Obama was doing his big presidential library dedication today. Look at the scandals under him. The WikiLeaks scandal, IRS targeting conservative groups scandal, like all of this. Biden, it doesn't get more scandalous. The biggest one. The Obama administration launching the attack, the coup attempt on Trump with the Russia investigation, the idea was that would take down his presidency before it even started. And then he has the gall today to talk about the peaceful transfer of power. Oh, my God. All right. You can read that op-ed by Senator Johnson, heartlandpost.com. Speaking of the Obama Presidential Library dedication, today Michelle said the beating heart of this country is not great patriots who built it and continue to do so, but illegal alien dreamers.
The immigrants proving what it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us and we are them.
Now, does that include Abraham Hermosillo Alvarez? Because it would imply that it is. He's the 31-year-old Mexican living in Omaha, Nebraska, that the Department of Homeland Security identified probably about 2 hours before Michelle Maybell spoke today as the ringleader of that foiled terror plot targeting UFC Freedom 250, the event held on the White House South Lawn this weekend. Alvarez, according to DHS, entered the U.S. as a child on a B-2 visitor visa that expired in 2001. Of course, he overstayed, ignored a deportation order, but under the Obama administration, received a deferred action for childhood arrivals protection order from the Obama administration. That was DACA or Dreamer. These were the Dreamers. This shielded him from removal. It happened in 2014. His DACA status has since been revoked. DHS and ICE have both placed a detainer on him for removal after any criminal proceedings connected to this plot. According to the FBI, Alvarez was known online as Shepard, and he allegedly led the planning in encrypted Signal and TikTok chats. The group, of course, intended to use explosive-laden drones over the arena to cause chaos and force evacuations. Then they would have sniper teams targeting high-value attendees, including the president, the vice president, any politicians, members of the cabinet, senators, whatever. Those seen as pro-Israel would be targeted. Yeah, that's the beating heart of America. ladies and gentlemen. That is who the Obamas believe. Dreamers like Shepard. Unreal.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
4145, stop and go either direction. Road work not helping. Northbound delay, Watertown Plank to Silver Spring. Southbound heavy, Good Hope to Capitol. Rock Freeway southbound still jammed approaching 164 due to a crash. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Yard. Save 15% on swivel gliders right now at By the Yard. Experience smooth swivel and glide comfort in outdoor furniture built to last. Don't wait. These are some of their most popular seats. Visit the Oconomowoc showroom today or shop buytheyard.net. By the Yard. Life is better outdoors.
The podcast world is filled with grifters who will say anything for clicks. I'm Mark Belling, and I will never say something I don't believe and can't back up. The Mark Belling Podcast is back on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline. For quality shipping and industrial supplies, Uline has everything in stock. Visit uline.com. The Mark Belling Podcast is also supported by Annex Wealth Management. The Mark Belling Podcast is now available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. In the days after 9/11, workers discovered a crushed, scorched, yet still surviving pear tree. New York Parks transplanted it to the Bronx Nursery, nursed it back to health, and replanted the survivor tree at Ground Zero as a symbol of American resilience.
I'm Willow Voss, and that makes me want to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your head. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote-controlled automobile-mounted articulated crane grapple saw operators put your dead trees on the ground or remove branches over something important. Happy 250th anniversary.
An all-American Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott, and I'm a fan of Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, the best vehicle buying experience I've had in my life by a long shot, and closer than you realize. Great dealership, wonderful people, easy trip.
Holiday's red, white, and blue sale is where to save big on GMC. Choose Sierra 1500 and stack our low simplified price with 0% 5-year financing plus no payments till October. Live 100%, pay 0% on Sierra by GMC. We are professional grade.
We are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest, take a test drive, and be ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, living free. Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at HolidayGMCBuick.com.
It's worth the trip.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
Business owners, now is the time to sell your business and take advantage of this red-hot seller's market. For more information, visit LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule your free exit strategy consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted, we are Lake Country Advisors.
Hi, it's Jay. I want responsive and accountable people working on my home when I need work done, and that's why I couldn't be more pleased with my kitchen and master bath remodels with Ward Kitchen and Bath. Ward K&B is a full-service design to completion company, and there's a personal touch that Greg and Kim Ward bring to your project. At Ward K&B, you're always dealing directly with the owners. In fact, Greg Ward, their son Jordan, and his partner Samantha are often working right alongside their talented tradesmen to keep your project moving. Check them out at wardkitchenandbath.com. wardkitchenandbath.com.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup update.
Switzerland takes down Bosnia 4-1 to pick up their first win of the tournament.
Puts the exclamation mark on it for Switzerland. 4-1.
The match was scoreless at halftime before an onslaught of goals in the second half and stoppage time. Earlier in the day, Czechia and South Africa played to a 1-1 draw. South Africa converted a late second half penalty to earn a point.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Wisconsin.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Obama Presidential Library dedication and grand opening today. Still chuckling about the fact that it opened with a land acknowledgement because of course it did.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
Now, do you honor them enough to, give them some profits from that Obama Presidential Library? Or no, of course not. Of course not. We just acknowledge that they were the original inhabitants. Do we know that? I'm serious. Do we actually know that they were the original inhabitants? Can we go back 50,000 years? Was it those exact tribes? I mean, how far? It's such trite pap coming from the left. Still, my highlight had to be the weird Bono serenading of Michelle Obama, in which he referred to her as his wife and told Barack to get his hands off her.
Don't touch my wife.
When we played this soundbite earlier in the show, a listener texted in that Bono is starting to sound like Adam Sandler when he would do songs on Saturday Night Live back in the day. And you know what? I'm hearing it. I am absolutely hearing it. One of the funniest things, though, today, speaking of Michelle My Belle, actually happened this morning on the CBS Morning Show. Co-anchor Gayle King sat down with Barack and Michelle Obama. And in case you're wondering why conservatives referred to her as Moochelle when she was in the White House, because she had a staff of something like 25 people. It was a dramatic increase from Laura Bush, and then Melania Trump dropped that staff right back down. Michelle's mom was living at the White House, and she was just sort of notoriously self-centered, right? This was always the knock on Michelle Obama. I know. Liberals say we cannot say a bad word about. They have this weird thing where you are not allowed at all to criticize Michelle Obama. Okay, folks. Yes, obviously saying Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? After you've just won an MMA fight is rather obviously inappropriate. But I'm talking about like actual critiques of Michelle Obama. It's like Michelle Obama and Beyonce are weirdly the two people in America that every lib has been conditioned to have to worship as a goddess. Like you are not allowed to critique Beyonce's music in any way. You have to say she is the greatest artist of our time, or I don't know, they revoke your lib card or whatever. But Michelle and Barack Obama sat down with Gayle King over at CBS this morning, and King asked, in one word, describe your future. Michelle's answer was absolutely hysterical.
One word to describe your next chapter. One word. Fun. Me.
Of course. There would be no other answer I would expect from Michelle Obama. And that sort of describes the dynamic, right? As awful as Obama was as a president and as scandalous as it was that he rather obviously authorized and personally ordered the spy op against new President Donald Trump, he's always come across as a genuinely okay dude, like someone who's just sort of chill in his post-presidency. Yeah, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go to a World Cup match. Michelle, on the other hand, describe your future. Describe your future. Me. All right. Let's have Bono play us out. Michelle. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back. Get your hands off my wife.
From the place you want to go, Richmond Quantico Traffic Center.
94 eastbound closed between Highway 26 and Highway F due to a serious crash. Then it's jammed solid from 84th to 35th. Westbound 94 is heavy from before 35th to Mitchell Boulevard, again from the Zoo to Moorland. I'm Tom Gaines. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grandview Homes. Wherever the roads take you today, trust matters close to home. Every neighborhood has its own story, and Grandview Homes knows them well. Having bought thousands of houses for cash in the communities they serve, they're a buyer you can trust. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com.
From the road to the roof, S&K will fix your plumbing problems 24/7.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. When it comes to a home mortgage, we understand you want a simple, stress-free process, great service, and a loan you can feel good about. And for 90 years, that's exactly how we've been doing things at Great Midwest Bank. So if you're thinking about buying, building, renovating, or refinancing, get started at greatmidwestbank.com to find a knowledgeable loan officer and get the peace of mind you deserve. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
The Matrix is Penny Mustard's most popular TV stand.
No way. It's a computer-generated simulation.
How do you know?
Look closely at the Matrix. See all the pixels?
Those aren't pixels.
That's wood grain.
The Matrix TV stand is handcrafted from solid wood.
Built to your specifications and TV size.
Yeah, right. That's what they want you to believe.
Come see the totally real and wildly popular Matrix TV stand, starting at $28.44 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
If you look at online reviews for most roofing companies, it isn't pretty. Problems like missed appointments, lack of follow-up, and sloppy workmanship are unfortunately common complaints. Hey, it's Jay, and that's not the case when you hire Semperfi Roofing. In fact, they make 3 promises to their customers. First, they'll respect your time by being on time for appointments, promptly following up and doing what they say they'll do. Second, you'll get a perfect roof installed by their highly skilled roofing crews. And finally, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. No other roofing company can offer you a longer, more comprehensive warranty. So, over-the-top customer service, a perfect installation, and a 50-year leak-free guarantee. It's easy to see why Semperfi has so many 5-star reviews and why they're different from every roofing company in town. Right now, get $500 off of a new roof and no interest financing until 2031. Set up your free 21-point roof inspection today, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paved patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move's been offering landscape services for over 47 years and now offers stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
From planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make. Hi, this is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. If you're still considering a 6% broker, you're paying too much. We deliver full-service real estate with expert agents and a 24-year track record. Smart sellers are keeping thousands more in their pockets. You should too. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Homeowners, are you ready to transform your house into the neighborhood showpiece? Wilco Exteriors has your back with two incredible offers you don't want to miss. Choose LP SmartSide for your siding project and receive a free upgraded custom color that comes with a lifetime finish warranty that you never have to paint again. Or receive a free entry door when you replace a house full of windows or do any siding project. With top quality products and professional installation, you have peace of mind your home will look immaculate for years to come. So visit wilcoext.com. That's WILCOEXT.com. Wilco Exteriors, built with integrity.
I'm Victor Harding. If you or someone you love is injured, I highly recommend Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshevsky's Frank Cravello.
Frank here. If you're injured, the quality of your attorney and law firm will likely have greater impact on the compensation you receive than even the facts of your case. I highly recommend Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, Warshevsky's Victor Harding.
The quality of your attorney and law firm are huge factors in the compensation injured Wisconsinites receive. Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshevsky.com.
WISN.
Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
Last commercial break consisted of just Doug and I doing impressions of Bono as Adam Sandler serenading Michelle Obama. Very, very weird. Milwaukee, the Brewers lose 4-2 to the Cleveland Guardians today, but the big loss was earlier, and this one does, in fact, hurt. Quinn Priester is going to be done for the rest of the season. Excuse me. He has thoracic outlet surgery. I've never heard of that. Priester has not pitched at all in the majors this season after thoracic outlet symptoms started cropping up during spring training. He did get to 8 games across 3 minor league levels in an effort to get back to the big league level. These are rehab starts, obviously. He did not look good. 15.75 ERA while walking 24 batters in just 16 innings. The Brewers had been hopeful that they would be able to add another just dominant arm last year to this year's starting rotation. He was brilliant. I mean, obviously Mizorowski was the ace last year, and this year, is there even any contention for the National League Cy Young at all? I mean, Skeens is always going to be good. Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mizorowski has been utterly brilliant. But you need all the arms you can possibly get when eventually the Dodgers come calling in the playoffs. I'm not going to go that far ahead, ladies and gentlemen, although the Brewers have just been fantastic. And again, just insanely fun to watch this year. They're 18 games above 500, 45 and 27. They've played good baseball by their standards, how they were playing from about May 1st to June 1st. They've come back to earth a little bit. They're scuffling a little bit, 6-4 in their last 10. This is still a very, very good team. The starting pitching is incredible. Bullpen gave it up today, which you never want to see. And yes, they could use some more pop in the lineup, but this is still a very, very, very good team. I just wish you wish, obviously, anytime there is any sort of injury to a pitcher, you just get concerned because sometimes they don't come back as strong as they were. Out of time. Back tomorrow, 3:06 p.m. right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
All programs on News Talk 1130.